Today on To The Point, we have a great guest. It's Giving Tuesday. And oh, by the way, it's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Welcome on in To The Point with Kristen Burt. I am so excited you guys are all here. As I mentioned, it is my birthday, but I'm raising money for American Dance Movement because it is Giving Tuesday. And I just want to let you guys know that for only $62, it gives a child dance education for 1 year. For disclosure purposes, I'm also on the advisory board, but I thought this was a fun way to celebrate my birthday. But I want to let you guys know I have an even better way to celebrate my birthday, and it's this guest over here to my left, Casey Monnie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited you're here.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, working on your birthday.
Working on my birthday. I'm trying to raise some dollars.
Hey.
Link is in my bio on any social media account. Just find it. Link, and you can even donate $1.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
$1.
We can do this.
You can do that.
We can do this.
Help some kids learn how to dance.
I know.
That's awesome.
It is good. It's for all underserved communities too. So we all
Amazing.
deserve the ability to get dance.
Amazing.
Yes. I'm so glad this worked out.
Yes, me too. I know. Thanks for having me.
You know, I was thinking about this. Did we just really meet officially for the first time at So You Think You Can Dance this summer?
I believe we did.
I
Yeah.
think that's weird because I feel like we travel in very similar circles.
Yeah.
And then when you were choreographing on So You Think, I was like, hey! And I felt like I already knew you.
Yeah, I
and
did
that we were
too.
friends a long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that was the first time we really met.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
That's very...
Was it? I think it was press line.
It was press line for So You
like,
Think You
"There's
Can
Kristen."
Dance.
Yes.
I know. I don't think you were going to do the press line. I was like, come on over.
You know
do it.
what? To be 100% honest, I almost didn't just because I had so many like emotions and so many things, and I
Yes.
was just like, I don't know. Like I just was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. And then Jeff was like, go downstairs and you've got to do the press. And I was like,
You
all right.
do. And,
Yeah.
and, you know, a lot of times, even some of the established choreographers do not do it. And I always say, follow the lead of Travis Wall, especially if you're really establishing yourself. I'm going to give media tips, right? But if you're trying to establish yourself as a choreographer, kind of in a new arena, obviously you have a very successful dance career, but I think it's great for the fans to also get to know your face and get to know your work because they will follow you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on a different show or you come back to So You Think, they're very loyal.
Really?
Especially So You Think.
Okay.
So I always am like, come and do the press line. And it really is a good thing. I know that
Yeah.
I think it causes anxiety to some choreographers.
Yeah. Well, I think naturally, like maybe less my dance persona, but like my choreographer persona is like you're used to being like behind the scenes a lot, and you're used to kind of, you know, like being on like maybe the other end of the table. So I think to stand in front of a camera if you're not used to it,
Right.
and being like, yes, no, maybe, you know.
And I always promise people, I'm like, I will, if you need softballs, we'll throw some softballs to warm you up.
Yeah.
And like you're amongst friends. I'm not going to ask you anything you don't know the answer to. That's why I always like to let people know that because they're like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, you're going to be fine.
You're like, guess what? I asked the questions.
And if you're stumbling, I will try and like jump in and save you.
A slide and a catch. Yeah.
Exactly, because I'm like, I'm here to make you look good. So, because you guys all look good out there on the stage anyway. We talked a lot about you getting to So You Think You Can Dance with choreography, and it was a long journey. It was not this like, hey, let me submit in the spring and everything works out great and you're on.
Yeah.
Yours, I believe, was like an 18-month process.
Yeah. It was, you know, I think also too the subject matter for the piece was very personal. And, you know, Jeff and Mandy and Parker and Robert, like they're this incredible producing team. And I think, you know, I kind of give the example, it's not like it wasn't a Bonnie and Clyde. It's like, this is about Bonnie and Clyde and they're like running around, like wreaking havoc on town. It was like about my personal story. So I think it was a mixture of, you know, new choreographers and letting them have a chance to do something on the show. But then also, I think they recognized the importance of the piece and they wanted it to be, you know, as well received as it could be. So it took a while for, you know, creation and, you know, oh, this part works, that's great. What about this? What do you think about this? And it's kind of like a really nice collaboration of like every party. You know, it's really awesome.
Well, and some of the best team in the business, honestly.
Yeah.
We had Jeff and Robert and
love 'em.
Mandy here all on the panel all at
love
once.
'em.
I literally was like at the table when that happened. I was like, this is kind of amazing that
So
this is
fun.
happening on my show. But I mean, I have so much respect for what they do and the advice that they offer because they want you guys to succeed. They want you to come back.
Yes.
That's
and
important.
that's, I think, important too for like any new choreographers that want to try. Like, I've submitted other pieces in the past before and they just weren't right, or they weren't, something that they thought would be like the one. And they're really, I think they take to heart and they take it very seriously that like this show can like make you or it can break you. Cause if you put up something that's not well received, that could be like,
Yeah, sometimes Nigel will make a comment saying, I didn't think that the choreography served the couple.
Exactly. And so then you're sitting there in the chair like, oh my gosh, like you just put yourself into this whole thing and you had to sit there and watch your piece go. And then it's like, it wasn't received well, like it would be hard to definitely, get past. So
what's it like sitting in that chair when you're waiting for them to go on the live show and you're like, okay, I know there's four more numbers in my pieces next. Oh my gosh.
You literally, I think Robert talks about this too with you, but you just like you sit in the chair and like they're like, okay, like you're going live and the show starts, and then you're like sitting, I've been a dancer and I've assisted Mandy and like watching these chairs and like I'm like, oh, I'm sitting in the part of the audience where all the choreographers are, and then you sit down and it's just like after every dance, like sweet Al Blackstone was sitting next to me and he kept like, grabbing me and being like, it's okay, breathe. And, like,
you're like sweating.
I had no idea. I was sweating. My hands were like clammy and I must have looked pale because Jeff he kind of comes up in between dances and says like, good job. And he gives,
Papa Jeff.
Yeah, he's so sweet. It was so nice. And like before the piece, he came up, he's like, are you ready? And I was like, I think so. And then when the piece goes, you just like, blah, like blackout. I don't remember anything. And especially, I think too, me being a dancer first, I am used to being OCD and very in control and having, like the what I need to pull it off. And
you have the presence, you're in your space, in your head.
Yes. And so to have to sit there and be like, oh, I can't do anything about it. I have to sit there and let it happen. And it was like a really like, whoa moment,
So you had Gino and Sophie, who were a new couple at that point too. And I don't mean like dating couple, I mean on the show as partners. But how was their dress rehearsal? Because I know a lot of times choreographers will come up to me between the dress and the live show and go, oh gosh, it was a really rough week. And then they go out there on the stage and those kids create magic.
Yeah.
How did you feel coming off the dress rehearsal into the live show?
I'm watching this new show on Disney Plus called Encore with Kristen Bell. Have you seen it?
I have been dying. Grease,
yes,
Sound of Music, Annie.
It's in like
so good.
So I was watching one last night, and they I think it was the Sound of Music one. And their dress rehearsal just like falls apart.
It was
a mess.
And it's a big show too. It's a big long show.
Yeah, and so they're just panic, and then when they do. I think the director talks about like the theater gods and how they kind of take over and just let it happen. And then
we organize it.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm a big believer on like, your dress rehearsal really is that. It sounds so cliche, but it's like that bad dress rehearsal, good show,
Shake the nerves out.
And not that they had a bad dress rehearsal. I just think the subject matter was so intense for these young adults who just, it's like you're telling my personal story, which is a lot of responsibility. The subject matter of coming out is it can be a very heavy thing and a very serious thing. These two who have been friends and known each other on the show are now dancing together, and it's about trust and it's about being there for someone. So
she's playing your mother.
She's playing like my mom, and yeah, it was incredible. Like she was like, oh, like in rehearsal she was like, oh, I'm your mom and I'm everyone else that you love or that is important to you. And I was like, yes, Sophie, that's correct.
The light bulb went on.
Ding.
Yeah,
so it was
so good.
Yeah, so it was, the dress rehearsal was. I think it was exactly what it was supposed to be, and at that point in the week, you just kind of have to like pat them on the back and say like, you guys are gonna be great, and they went out there and they killed it. Nailed it. Good job, Soph. Good job, Gino.
And what's really beautiful about this piece is that Gino is out of the tour right now. He's injured. He's going to be fine, everyone. But Ezra filled in. So it was really interesting. I saw the show on Sunday night. It was here in Thousand Oaks. It was really interesting to see the piece from a little different perspective. There's a bigger height difference. So it creates a different feeling, but still really beautiful.
Yeah.
So I loved kind of seeing like a different interpretation of it.
Yeah, and like I think people can pull from any part of their life, which is so fun too. I think for the kids to be able to understudy the different dances and to be able to be a part of that, piece and that piece of art, because you can pull the emotion from anywhere, and I'm sure Ezra pulls from somewhere different than Gino pulls.
It's so beautiful.
And anyone that, you know, was understudying Sophie would have done the same thing, you know?
But it's nice to see too, because I'm always like, you know, the work speaks for itself, and then the emotional content, like everyone brings a little different energy. So that's why I was really excited to kind of see that. Can we talk about this table? Because I was laughing. I saw you at the High School Musical, the series premiere here in LA, and we were talking about this table after we watched, and you were like, they bought it. It's on tour.
It was really sweet because the show had called me, the prop guys, and they were like, so are we going to use that table? Should we use one of our tables? And if we're using your table, just know that it has to be reinforced, like to make sure that it's
from IKEA, so we want it reinforced.
You guys, it's from IKEA, and it's actually, I think I saw it. We were there 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend and I, because we had to buy a new desk, and because that one's on
gone.
Tour. And anyway, it's on sale right now, so you want to buy that table. But I was literally in IKEA a year and a half ago, like. I would like wait for people to like walk by, and I would like sit on top of the table and kind of like, and then like lean and see, like, I was like, okay, this one seems really sturdy, and that was the sturdiest table. So,
and it's held up really well.
Yes, and I think it's pretty. It's like, it's white, and it kind of, you know, it's like innocence, and it's like a blank slate. You know, it's kind of poetic. Yeah.
I love it, the symbolism of it too. Yeah. We'll get the behind the scenes symbolism of it all too. I just laughed because you were like, the table went on tour too.
It did, and like I kind of was thinking too. Because after the show, I didn't get like a call they came to my apartment and picked it up. And then I was like, I'm like, I wonder what they're doing at the table. Is it like lost in like, you know, Hollywood land? I don't know.
It's somewhere in CBS Television City.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm like, ooh, but maybe we don't want to use that table because there's been like bare feet and butt spins all over it. And it's been quite the process over the last year and a half. Like Marco, who helped me prep the piece, like everyone's blood, like literally blood, sweat, and tears on that table. Like broken chairs.
Did Coco also help you with this too? I feel like she mentioned that too.
Yeah, Coco helped me with it. I think like on version 3.
It
was a really pretty version 2. And I'm so thankful for her help, and anyone that I've been on a dancer for a very long time, and I've been on the creative side as an associate and assistant choreographer, and I'm now starting my venture as a choreographer. And anyone that gives you their time to like just show up and be like, yeah, I'm here for you. Like, what can I do? It's just like, it means the world. So Coco helped, Marco helped, Britt Stewart helped, Morgan helped, all my friends, Alan helped. Like, it's been really awesome.
That's so good. I'm so glad to hear. How did it feel when you found out it was going on tour? Because it's kind of a big deal when it's a finale piece, check, and it's a tour piece, double check. I don't think people realize, like, it's kind of like a good pat on the back, like, okay, I did a good job.
Yeah, you know, I can't, I like still pinch myself because I literally, since I've been 18, I've been assisting Mandy and helping, and I helped with a lot of duets, and it's been so fun. So it was a really cool full circle moment, because I've known Jeff for a long time. I've known Robert for a long time. And it was just I was like, wow, it was, not only was the piece received well, and it got to go on tour, and it was a finale pick, but it was something that like I felt like they all thought it should be told over and over in different spaces and in different cities, and the opportunity to tell it over and over was so cool. So it meant not just like that it was cool, as a choreographer, but like as like a human being, I was like, oh, that's really cool, you know?
Well, it's an important story to tell, because we're in Los Angeles and we're like, okay, great, you know.
In the bubble.
We are in a bubble, or New York City, in the bubble. But when they do go to smaller towns.
Yes.
Where things are even, if it's already hard in Los Angeles, it's going to be even harder for a coming out story, maybe in another state.
100%.
Or a smaller town where people haven't had their minds open yet.
Yes. And you forget. You can be here for a long time too, and then you go back. Even, you know, I'm from Seattle, and you go back and you see little things. You're like, oh yeah, like I live in a bubble, you know? Yeah.
Because we're just like, okay, great, awesome. Like, we don't even think twice about it here in Los Angeles.
100%.
Yeah, and then you hear other stories, and you're like, oh wow, it still is really hard to come out for a lot of people.
Yes.
It's not just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, and like I have to say, I just sent Jeff this. Like, I was like, I have to share this because he was such a huge part of getting this story and getting it on the show, and I just really wanted it to be a platform that like helped people, and like the outpouring of, like, I call it like the outpouring of love on social media for people that have come out, that took them back to that moment and they were just like in tears, or people that are still in the closet that said it helped them kind of like push further, or some people did come out. Like, it's been really cool. Like, it's been a huge a huge thing just for me. Like even just like one person like it helped. I was like, that's awesome. But I have like a whole huge like library full of people that I'm like, oh, that is so cool.
That's amazing.
Because it was so hard for me, you know, and so that the fact that it helped other people was so cool.
And the power of the show constantly. I'm glad that they are continuing, and I think they're doing a better job over the last couple of seasons. We're really pushing the envelope, whether it's coming out, whether it's gender identity, whether it is gun control. We need to just keep pushing these, and this is a really wonderful way to do it through art. Because I think it does open people's minds.
It's like, you know, art is culture, culture is art, you know, and I definitely like to call myself an artist more than just a dancer or choreographer. Like I've always been like artistically inclined. And so to be able to use a platform like So You Think to tell like all of Trav's stories, all of like Mandy's stuff, Robert's, like everyone's stuff is so personal to them. Mandy's Gray duet by Ani DeFranco with Robert and who was it? Mariah.
Which is on tour also, by the way.
I just like that the storytelling. It's incredible. So anyway, it's so fun to see what I like to refer to as like all these artists putting their stamp of like storytelling or whatever is happening in their life. It's just so awesome to be a part of that community.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I love
You're
that.
in Choreographer's Row.
Yeah.
I love just walking past Choreographer's Row. I'm always like, I can't believe they even let me backstage, you guys.
You're like, hey. And it's cool too. Like, yeah, like, so Mandy and Elizabeth, who were on my episode, we grew up together.
The week they did the rooftop. Yeah.
And we were on a scholarship program at Edge Performing Arts Center with Bill Prudich, and we were on the same year. So it was really cool to like, I just met Al Blackstone, who was like so sweet and so supportive. And then I had like Mandy and Elizabeth and Ray Leeper, and it was just like, everyone was super like pat on the back, like, hey, like, you know, breathe. And it was a very supportive environment. And I thought that was so nice, you know?
Everyone always asks me, because, you know, I get enough of an insight on Dancing with the Stars and So You Think and World of Dance. And I was like, what's your favorite show? I'm like, it is always going to be So You Think because of the family atmosphere backstage. And I think that there's a reason people want to come back year after year after year. It's just something that no other show has that same little magic, and I can't tell you what it is, but it's there.
It's definitely been, and I mean, like, I would think I was 16 or 17 when season 1 happened, and like my friend Nick like won, and it was just such a cool, like I was like, oh wow, this show's cool, you know.
Big deal, Nick Lazzarini.
Yeah, and like I just was like, oh, okay, cool, like awesome, our friend won this new show, and then now like seasons later, 17. Is that what?
We just finished 16. Fingers crossed for 17. And I will tell you guys officially, because I saw both Nigel and Jeff on Sunday separately at 2 different events, and they're still waiting to hear from the network officially. There's talks going on.
Oh, come on, it's gonna happen.
I know. We gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
The good news is Rob Wade, who is the head of alternative programming over Fox, loves dance because he came from Dancing with the Stars. So that is the good news. So we'll just all fingers crossed. But I think, you know, they just have to talk about things. Everyone wants a top 20. I don't think that's coming back. But
got it.
They always like to, you know, change the formula just a little bit here or there.
Because this year was just top 10. They did like
10.
the Academy week for a long time.
And they do like the top 20, and then they whittle it down to the 10, and the 10 move on to the live show, which they've now done seasons 13, 14, 15, 16. So,
got it.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it's hard to get it back. Once you like let that top 20 go, it's hard to get it back.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because networks go, well, we just did fine without 10 more, you know.
Yeah, no, it'll be great. I'm
Yeah,
sure it'll be
it's
back. It's such a
great.
good show. Come on.
Fingers crossed, I know.
Yeah.
How do you feel right now where you're working on your choreography, you know, establishing your name, but you're also still dancing? And I have bridged that gap. I was dancing professionally, and I was doing like this like hosting reporting thing, and it's a weird little place to be in sometimes because you're in limbo and you still like got to go to class, and then you're like, okay, now I'm behind camera, got to pay bills. Yeah, I got to do a job. How are you feeling kind of in this period? Because at some point you'll probably move more just towards the choreography and less performing.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it's exactly right where I'm at in my career is I have had like a really fun, great professional dance career, and it's been really fun. And yeah, like I mean, So You Think was my first big choreography. Like it was like my debut. Like Jeff gave me like the stepping stone.
It's
like,
your coming out choreography party.
Hey, coming out twice. And you know, It's a hard navigation. You know, I've been an assistant choreographer and an associate choreographer for a very long time too.
Got to
and
pay your dues.
that's a hard position to. It's just you got to be 10 steps ahead of the choreographer in every direction. You got to know counts, lyrics. You got to know
You're gonna go to the guys' part and the girls' part.
guys and girls. And like if this person, the actor, has to leave early, then you have to step in. And you're like, I've never done that part, and they're like, well, just figure it out. And just kind of it's like, oh, you know, and
Yeah.
like, oh, but when you work with Callista Flockhart, she doesn't know counts or anything, so you'll just have to do it by like, you know, right foot, left foot, step to get like you just have.
That's a nightmare for me.
Yeah,
I'm a
so-
count person.
Yeah, same. And you know, I've actually I'm navigating right now. I just received the Emerging Choreographer Award.
Need a Man.
Yeah.
World Choreography Awards. I was there.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I saw you very briefly.
I was like, Kristen.
hi.
And so like it's been all this kind of like it's been very quick momentum since So You Think and since that and it's I'm navigating, but I like Rob Marshall is my like dream. I like really want to work with him. And
Chicago, if anyone has seen the movie.
I saw it
tons
8
of Broadway
times.
shows. Yeah, he's amazing.
I saw it 8 times in theaters, and that's who I like to model myself after. Like I want to be a director mainly. I love Steven Spielberg movies, and I want to be a director. So I think it's a natural progression to go dancer, choreographer, director.
Bob Fosse would tell you that too.
Absolutely, and a lot of people.
Susan Stroman.
Gene Kelly. And so, like I'm finding my footing, and I've created my own videos. You can check them out on my YouTube page. I've been making my own like dances and like funding them and just like bringing in a Steadicam into like my apartment and filming like a couch duet or whatever. And so I'm always creating and like always, I do like a lot of stuff with paint. And so I think to answer your question, I am finding that footing, and I don't think there's like a direct way because I do have to pay the bills still, and I still do a lot of like on camera stuff as a dancer. But the goal is to get out of that completely and to just be on choreography and then to be a director.
And there will be that one day you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I actually just put it behind and didn't realize it. It's not like you wake up one day and you're like, I'm not going to dance anymore on camera.
I'm not dancing today.
It doesn't happen that way. All of a sudden you just realize one has naturally taken over the other.
Yeah.
And as long as you're good with it, because people always ask me, like, do you feel sad that you're not there? But I'm like, but I'm in the arena I want to, you know?
Yeah.
I'm with the dancers and with the choreographers. And it makes me really happy.
Yeah.
I always call it my happy bubble. And so there's no sadness of like, oh, I wish I was like dancing or whatever.
And to be on, it's the way you're perceived, right? Like a lot of producers are like, oh, well, they're just a dancer. And it's like, well, no, because they've been a dancer this long, they do know, and they've been assisting in like associate, they are ready. You know, it's like, oh, well, we didn't know that was he's a choreographer also. It's like, yeah, he is, you know.
You're like, I bring other skills to the table
Correct.
besides my talent as a dancer.
Yeah, so it's just about showing, I think, showing like your product and showing what you like and what your art
And
is.
showing up to events. I know you go to a lot of events, but I always tell people too, there's a weird little game too, like, because I cover Emmys, and so I see even with the choreographers, and like there's a weird little game of like showing up and knowing people's names and just shaking hands and saying, how are you? Or showing up to their dance performance. There's politics in everything. We try and avoid it, but there is.
Yeah.
There's that like shaking hand and making eye contact too that gets you jobs, gets you a nomination every once in a while.
And also, I think like going to support the community and like being present and like putting energy into this community you're a part of, right? Like, yeah, I love that idea of like going to support.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I see the same faces over and over again. It's not just like, oh, I show up and I saw that one random choreographer once. I will see the same probably like 20, 25 people at every event. And so I'm like, okay, I get it. Like I make a mental note. I'm like, okay, they're really out there supporting their friends and coworkers and things like that. So
It's important.
it is.
Yeah,
it's so hard to do art.
It is. It like I think one of my favorite Andy Warhol. One of my favorite quotes is by Andy Warhol, and it's I'm like butchering the quote, but it's like
We'll Google it.
Google it later. But it's like make art, and then as people judge it, make more art, which I love because it's so simple. And like we as artists are like, oh, I don't know if I should put, I don't know, and it's just like just put it out there, let people judge it, think of whatever, and then keep making art as they're judging it.
Yeah, you can always recreate it. You can always put it on another level. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing. It's never really finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never finished. Let's talk a little bit about that. Need a Man award that you won at the World Choreography Awards. I think Jeff is going to pull up the quote too. Whoa, okay.
There
Don't
it is.
think about making art. Just get it done. That's actually a great first quote.
Right?
Let everyone else decide if it's good or bad, whether they love it or hate it. while they are deciding, make even more art.
Isn't that
Andy
wonderful?
Warhol.
Isn't that so good?
I'm gonna put that on my Instagram.
I was on a scholarship, and my this wonderful artist, Miguel Zarate, who was my teacher, he, for our scholarship wrap gift, it's like a year of like diehard training, he printed that out for all of us, and it's still on my bookshelf. And
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one to frame, honestly, and just like every morning, just
Yeah.
face it and go, okay,
Yep.
great, got it. Need the inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that Anita Mann emerging choreographer fund, because this is cool. And if you guys do not know, I mentioned Anita Mann probably like every fourth or fifth show, but
She's incredible.
She's incredible. Solid Gold dancers, guys, go to YouTube and look it up, because they were everything in the 80s. They were like the Dancing with the Stars pros of their time.
Yeah.
Because Solid Gold was like the show to be on, with the high cut Leos and shiny tights.
That's right.
And she's amazing. I saw her on Sunday too. She's just lovely. But she's done a ton of other work, has worked with every major artist.
She is, I believe, she is one of the first female directors inducted into the Directing Guild. If I might be incorrect, but I think that's
I believe that's
correct.
right. She's an Emmy Award winner as well, so we should throw that in there.
And her mentor was Lucille Ball, which is like so cool. And she, she comes from that world, and like Lucille Ball was like her, her person that helped her and cultivated what she does. So I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, just the one little name to drop in there. I mean,
I was like,
just Lucille
oh.
Ball.
Okay.
So talk about this fund, because you created a piece out of it that I know is on your YouTube page called Love and Surrender. And talk about what that process was like. You had to apply for it, right?
Yeah, so my agent actually sent me this link that was like, hey, I think you should submit your stuff. So what you do is the World Choreography Awards, shout out to Alan.
Alan Walls.
He is incredible, and he was so fun to work with. But anyway, their organization, the World Choreography Awards, does, and I think I was the first person to receive this award. They're doing it now every year, and you submit your body of work. So it could be your independent films, whatever. I submitted all my independent films, and they choose. There was I think 50 people that submitted, and then they choose like 5 finalists, and then they interview you, and they do all these things, and they look at your resume, and I got it. And so they fund, like, you have to make like a budget sheet, and you have to make a kind of like everything that you need to make this video idea happen, and you submit a treatment of what you want to do, and then they approve kind of like the whole thing. And so I got to like pay my dancers, Jillian Myers and Dina Thompson, and I got to use Paint, which I like has been a huge part of my career, and I love using that medium so much. And so every year they're gonna pick one emerging choreographer.
Such a cool.
Yeah, it is
You're
really
number
cool.
one, too. You're the first one.
I'm number one.
You're number one. They can never take that away from you. You did
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
I just want to say something about Jilly Myers. I know she also assists Mandy quite a bit, but she's
Yeah.
a great, besides being a choreographer on her own and a dancer, she's also a great character actress.
Oh, and actually, that's like if anyone can ever take both of their classes, they both derive from acting. Like they're both like I created this treatment of this video in my head for these two people who are big friends of mine and big colleagues, and they both are actors. I mean, and like Dina has worked with like Steven Spielberg, and
Wow.
Jillian has been like doing miming and acting since she's from Oregon, I'm from Seattle, the PNW. We've known each other for a very long time, and both of them come from like an acting background, which was so huge for the video.
Yeah, it's a really amazing video, so you guys should definitely check it out, and you'll see what I'm talking about when. Because Jilly, I'm just like, she could work. She will work until she's like 102.
And she's really cool. She wants to know the process of why, and she wants to know, like what the feeling of this character is right here, and what is the ending. Like she's like, is my character dying? Like no, she's just leaving like her imprint on this it's really cool the way
She's doing her homework.
She's doing her homework. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's awesome.
That is so good.
Yeah.
I love that. You obviously worked with Jilly too on La La Land, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you talk about that experience? I love the movie. We had interviewed Mandy when it was all coming out. I saw the first LA screening, and I texted her. I think it was way too early in the morning or way too late at night, one of those. And I just was literally like, in all caps, like, Mandy, oh my God, what you created. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like too excited and too many exclamation points. But I've got to imagine, I'm kind of jealous of anyone that worked on it, honestly.
It was a big moment for, I think, like even like dance in movies and film. Like it gives an ode to old Hollywood dance
MGM
and,
movies.
Yes, and I'm a huge Gene Kelly fan. who is Kenny Ortega's mentor, who mentored me, and just Mandy has been a mentor too. And so like just this big world of like, whoa. I walked off set that night.
What scene were you in, just so everyone knows?
I was in the party scene, the someone in the
pool.
crowd, someone in the crowd, I had been a part of the skeleton crew for the prep of the whole movie. So we did like all the numbers, for a couple of weeks. And I remember like walking off set and being like, I was talking to Mike Riccio, who was the other assistant choreographer with Jillian Myers. And I was like, I think it's going to win like Best Picture. And he was like, I don't know. I was like, no, it's like, it's something special.
It did for like 10 seconds.
It did for 10. And
10 seconds.
Me and Mike, we were there at the Academy because we performed that big with
John Legend.
And we had like champagne and we all like cheers and toasted. And Mike was like, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's that guy doing? What's he doing right there? What's he doing? Yeah.
You're like, why is everyone in the audience like, that was I did cover the Oscars. That was
like,
the
oh my God.
weirdest Oscars I've ever covered my whole life.
It was so weird, but it was really eloquently recovered, I think, with the producers from La La. And they were like, the way that they gave it back to whoever it was supposed to be. It was Moonlight, which is an incredible movie.
Oh, it was amazing.
But anyway, yeah, it was wild. And I remember walking off set after filming that movie and being like, holy moly, this is going to be a big moment.
It's a game changer for Mandy too. It just...
Yeah, she's brilliant. I mean, like talk about dance genius and like leaving her mark on the dance world and really facilitating the change in what our commercial dance is, Oh,
I know, it's so cute. So cute. What do you think the biggest lesson you've learned from Mandy? Because I know she's mentored you quite a bit.
Mandy once told me, I've actually gotten asked this question before, and it's she told me, Case, do not. She said, put your head down and do the work. Don't wait for anyone to tell you to work hard. Like, put your head down, do the work, and it really resonates. That way you don't have to depend on anybody else for like what you need. You know that you put your head down, you did the work, you know what it's supposed to be. You can defend it if you need to. You can talk about why it works, why it doesn't. And that really, like, I hear her saying that, Case, like, put your head down, do the work. Just if you have to go back to the drawing board 4 times to make the duet happen, go back to the drawing board. Why,
okay.
Why not? Sometimes your rough draft isn't the greatest draft. Like your final draft will be, version 1 through 4. That's okay. And so she's really instilled like this, like, just work hard and just put your head down and do the work. And I hear that all the time.
Isn't that funny? I know. It's always funny, like the lessons you learn. And sometimes you're like, I think I hear it. And then later on, you're on your own doing something. And you're like, oh, I really hear it now.
It always is like that moment where you're like, okay, I totally understand why they're
saying. Yeah, I had a mentor of mine. He always takes me out for like a New Year's, the start of the new year, like a breakfast. And he's like, what's your motto of the year? And I didn't have one that year. I was just like, I don't know. And he's like, be authentic. And I was like, it took me 6 months. And then there was one day I was like, oh my gosh.
I understand.
Yes. Like, be authentic with your work. Don't put up a front or anything. But it just like finally.
100%.
And so I finally was like, it took me 6 months. I'm so sorry, but I'm listening to you. I am listening.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you don't hear what you need to hear when you're hearing it. It's later in life that you're like, oh, it's like this echo and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, just a little bit of time has passed by. There we are. That was our first. Cute. Yes, this is me going, please come and do an interview.
Yeah.
Please come on over. I didn't torment you too much, so.
No, you did. It was fun. It was kind of all a blur that night. I was like, it was great. Yeah, it was so fun.
So good. So I don't know if you date Alan Salazar. I always want to say that I see you guys together. And one thing I want to say about you guys is that he was there supporting you. Mm-hmm. And then I saw you at High School Musical, the musical series. He assists Zach Woodlee. Uh-huh. So you were there supporting him.
Yes.
How important, because I have a husband who's fantastic about this, but how important is it to you guys to just be, you have to have a cheerleader?
Oh, absolutely. We help each other with these, like Alan helped film the rehearsals, edited music for me. Like he did a lot of the prep work and like the support work. And it's, maybe if you're not dating someone, you have like your colleague or assistant or whatever that you can always lean on. But to have someone that you get to have a personal life with and a professional life with, it's so nice. It's really
bouncing ideas off each other.
And it's huge too, because like he's someone too that's like not a yes man. He won't be like, oh, like, okay, yeah, totally. He'll be like, like a lot of ideas I'll throw, and he'll be like, well, what about this? Or like, ooh, did you think about that? Or, and like sometimes I'll be like, oh, like frustrated, like my idea was good. And then like later on, it's like, yes, you were right.
What I love about Alan too, he's like, take a step back. He's a thinker. He reminds me of my husband. You and I are like,
we're like, I like to say he's the Kiki to my Coco.
yes. The Kiki to your Coco.
Yeah,
I love
we get along. We
it.
were at Marco's birthday the other week, and like Alan and Kiki are so similar. Me and Coco are so similar. So it's we balance each other out. Like
My husband would fit right in with that.
Yeah.
Crew, 'cause
Yeah,
like,
I met your husband at-
You did at
at-
High School Musical.
Yeah.
The musical, the series. I just like
High
saying
School
it.
Musical, the musical, the series. Yeah.
I just love saying that. But yeah, I was like, I always say he lives like down here. He's like
yeah.
super zen. I'm like way up here. And so
Yep.
but you can't live up there all the time. So it's good to come home to someone that's like,
And we balance each other out. We're good at. I think that's why we work so well.
oh, I love that. That makes me so happy. I just love seeing the two of you guys just like, rooting each other on because
Yeah.
this town is tough.
Yeah, and I mean, he just completed like High School Musical is the musical this year. It's like it was a big feat, it was a long time, and
They
it
did
was,
about 6 months, didn't they?
I think it was. Yeah, that's 6 months. It was in
6 months of
Utah.
shooting,
And
yeah.
it was a lot. Like it was, but he's great at what he does, and it was a big opportunity for him. So I'm super stoked for him.
And you worked with Zach Woodlee doing
Yes.
Disneyland this season of Dancing
Yes.
with the Stars. I know you've worked with him a ton before too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what's it like shooting in Disneyland in the middle of the night?
Oh, it was so
on,
crazy.
so
'Cause
cool.
I'm a huge Disney fan. Like I've been going since I moved here from Seattle. Like for the last 12 years, I go a lot, and I was like looking around, like, wait, this isn't right.
I'd be
Like,
peeking around every corner.
oh yeah, and there's people like bringing in boxes and inventory, and like it's like a whole different world, and like whoa, yeah.
I'd be looking for hidden Mickeys, like all of
Yeah.
that cool stuff.
When we were doing the opening number, there was like a big balloons. Like the balloons are covering the background of Tom and Mickey, and the wind was really crazy. The Santa Ana winds were that night, and it
Zach
was like
mentioned that, yeah.
we were like trying to hold these balloons. Like it was really scary. It was like these balloons are like $50 each, and like they kept popping.
You're like, there goes another 50, 100, 200.
Every time they would pop, people would be like, "Give me the string, give me the string." I'm like, "Sorry guys, I can't control the wind."
That Casey is a problem with the balloons.
Yeah, I'm like, get him out of here.
And how many other, because you were there a whole bunch. You were there at the finale. You did a bunch of weeks this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's it like behind the scenes, like working as a dancer? Because it's interesting too, because they had the troupe. They don't really have a troupe this season. They called everyone a pro, and then they brought in additional. And it was a little confusing, I'll say, for the viewers, because then they're like, "Are they troupe now? Are they not troupe?" I'm like, well, Keo and Daniela are pros, and then they're bringing in extra dancers when they need more people.
Yeah, I think the whole show got reformatted. So like just like So You Think with top 20, top 10, it's just like they kind of change it up. I've been doing Dancing with the Stars for like 11 years. Like I did like I think one of the first Macy's Passport, like when it was like Macy's Stars of Dance. It was
I
like
love those.
Dee Casberry, Marguerite Derricks, Kenny Ortega, and that was like back in the day. And then they decided to have this troupe thing, and so I've always kind of been brought in for like 3 or 4 episodes a season.
The Halloweens, the Disney
Yeah,
weeks,
whenever they need like extra dancers, and my friends have all been on the troupe, and I actually did go to Utah and trained in ballroom, and I was
How's your ballroom?
my ballroom's amazing. You can ask Val, you can ask Jenna. I mean, I've got some
You got some moves.
some great hip action, Kristen. Okay, we'll just leave it there.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite style? Because everyone wants to know.
Out of like the 5,
Out of the 5.
ooh, I like rumba because it's so slow and so like
I
sultry.
love a
and-
good sexy rumba.
yeah, it's like come on.
When it's done well, and
Yeah.
there's been a bunch of them even on So You Think on Dancing with the Stars, where
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, that was so good.
Yeah, and like when the connection's there, it's so nice. But
Yeah.
I went on this big ballroom adventure, and I just because I would be on the show and they would like throw me into like a jive with like Max and Val, and I'd be like, and like I would look at myself on playback and be like,
You're like, oh wait,
okay, that looks bad. So then I was like, let me go and like train.
do the
and
work. Yep.
put my head down, did the work,
work.
Kristen. And so
We
yeah.
hear Mandy. We hear Mandy. through the
Mandy, she's
studio.
here. She's like, do the work.
I do the work.
Okay, bye.
I know. Should I
Go
just
in the
send her a
back,
text and be like, do the work?
Yeah.
We're hearing you.
Put your head down to the work.
Here with Casey doing the work.
She'd know. She'd know.
She would certainly know. You're great friends with Morgan Larson. I see photos of you guys all over social media.
Morgan Larson.
We've had her here in studio.
Who is a better firecracker than Morgan? Or sorry, I'll call her a lightning bolt. She loves.
She's
lightning
rad.
bolts. She is a rad time. Okay. I met her. We were filming a Teen Beach movie I got brought in like the last second because someone dropped out. So I got brought in, like flown to Puerto Rico where they filmed it. And like
The best summer of your life, right?
it was the best summer ever. Wheels and waves, surf and shades. Okay, the choreography's still there.
Jeffrey Hornaday and Chris Scott, right?
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
In the back of my brain.
You
Weird.
said, hold on, let me find this.
Let me just drop it.
Yeah, there we are. Morgan is one of the most inspiring human beings. She's a doer. She's somebody that she doesn't just say like, okay, let's like do it and then not do it. She always does it. And I'm a doer. I always pride myself on like if I have an idea, and if I want to do it, like I have a bunch of ideas I talk about that don't happen because they're not whatever. She's incredible and she's a good support system. She's been a good friend, and she's an artist and she's so cool. And yeah, I have so much respect for her as a creative and as a friend, and we just have been like connected at the hip ever since we met. It was like immediate. Like
It's interesting. There's a lot of you guys that have kind of come up together, have worked a lot. Like
Yes.
Morgan's one of them. Britt Stewart is another
Yes.
one I kind of always throw out there.
Marco,
Just-
Britt Stewart, Morgan, myself, Will Loftus. There's like this kind of crew that also Robert.
Robert,
We've
of course,
all
yep.
been on like the creative side of stuff for a long time now, and we've just been kind of coming up, and we really enjoy both sides. So it's been a good, again, the support system and leaning on each other, and yeah, it's been really
riding
awesome.
the highs and riding the lows too. Because that
Yes.
sometimes is, yeah. I mean, what do you do? Because we've all been there, especially in this industry, where you just have that really just hard period, hard month, whatever it is, hard year sometimes.
yeah.
How do you ride through that?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know, I think it's like staying humble. Like I worked at Coffee Bean my first 2 years out here. I just like wanted it so bad. You really have to want it, like, because you'll show up to an audition. There's 50 versions of you there, you know, and it's like, how bad do you want it? You better stand in the front and center and like let people. You can't stand in the back and just like, there's someone's gonna see me back here. I'm gonna be polite. It's like, no, I'm gonna be polite, but I'm gonna stand in the very front and I'm gonna make sure that these people see who I am and I want this job and I need this job to be able to eat, you know.
Pay the bills.
So I think you have to stay very humble and just, yeah, if you need to, you know, if it's a low, you gotta work a Coffee Bean. You gotta do it. You know, there's no harm in
And there's
that.
nothing wrong with
No,
that. There was a
no.
big lesson a couple years ago when the guy from the Cosby Show, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he was a fan, found him working at Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah. I heard about that.
Jeffrey Owens, I
Jeffrey
believe.
Owens, yes.
And he was like, "There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with it. They've worked with my schedule. They have helped paid my
Yes.
family's bills." And I was like, "That is the reality of
Correct.
working in the entertainment business. Sometimes you do have to get a little survival job."
Yeah, and like, you know, the crew I just named, like we all worked so hard. Like we all came from like put your head down and do the work because Mandy kind of has cultivated a lot of our stuff. Like, you know, she's helped us like understand that. And so like we all put in, like Marco used to have a job when me and Marco were like 18 and, you know, we all had jobs. So, and we did the work. And now I think we, you know, all are at this point in our careers, we get to do this full time now, which is great. But sometimes you got to take a step back and say, hey,
you do.
what's your favorite latte? Okay. I will hook you up.
I love a double vanilla tea latte. So
Ooh, yum. Okay. Andante, Beverly Boulevard across from CBS where I spend a lot of time.
yes.
They have the best honey latte. Go next time you're there, you got to check it out and then text me because it's so good. Yeah.
That's
With
that's
oat
a game.
milk.
With
Oat
that,
milk.
Okay, oat milk. Okay,
It's, like,
that's
thicker.
I have a feeling that is like a game changer for me
It
too.
is.
I'm gonna have my
It's
double
the La La
vanilla.
Land for your coffee.
I need
Okay.
That sounds amazing. We were talking. I know now. I'm like, my mouth is watering thinking about that coffee.
Yeah.
How about manifestation? Because we were just talking about like manifesting dreams. We've had a lot of people manifest their dreams here in the studio. 2020. What are some of your goals? Things that you hope to achieve?
I want to work with Rob Marshall. Rob Marshall, if you're out there, hear me. I
do
want to
it.
work with you so bad. I just, I say that because he's someone that I want to learn from before he doesn't want to do this anymore, before he, whatever. I'm Tara Nicole Hughes and Joey Peasy, these people that I've looked up to my whole life. Like, I'm like that, like, weird kid that's like, I'll get you guys coffee, like, whatever you need. I'm good at coffee. What do you want, you know?
I know how to make a good latte.
And so I want to work on movies. I want to choreograph for film. I want to direct film. You know, I would love to work on So You Think again. I have a couple ideas for next season that I hope to
Season 17. We got to manifest that.
manifest, you know. But I'm a big manifester. I have a whiteboard in my house and I write down things so specifically. I have journals. I have like 4 journals in the past 12 years that I have that I could like go through and show you where I've written like I will work with Marguerite Derricks. I will work with Kenny Ortega. Like and those things have happened and like pretty
incredible.
pretty specific. So I'm a big write it down, look at it. So if it's something that I want like pretty soon, I write it on my whiteboard in my office and I look at it all the time.
Yeah, every day you're faced with that. Yeah.
So you kind of like say it to yourself. And I did say I will work with Rob Marshall in The Little Mermaid, but it didn't happen. So it's like sometimes they don't happen, you know?
It's okay.
That's the low. You got to just
maybe
keep going
something
on.
is awaiting you in 2020, which is just around the corner.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I know.
I'm going to put it out there. Okay,
I
so we'll watch this back in a year later and I'll be working with Rob.
You know, one of my greatest stories, I have to be honest, has been pulling clips from this show after I hear someone books a job and it's announced and everything and going, it came true. It came true. We've done it with Teddy Coffee. We've done it with Eliana Walmsley.
Teddy.
Literally, next week, I'm going to have a show and then I'm going to LAX and I'm taking a red-eye flight to go see Eliana in Radio City as Clara.
That's so cool.
Because we
Good job,
manifested on the
Eliana.
show and I promised her I would come and I'm coming. So
She did Dance with the Stars Juniors.
she did juniors
Yeah.
and she's been on Dance Moms and
Yeah,
she's
great.
a little firecracker. She's one of the funniest kids I've ever met.
Such a silly goose.
I love her so much. So I'm like, manifest it. And
Yeah. I'm big on that. I am big, and I think you really have to be specific about like what you want, and that just even putting it out there will kind of like drive the universe or the energy for yourself, to yourself, whatever it is, and it kind of like hones in on what you want. And I'm super big on that. Yeah.
Yeah, manifest like go Rob Marshall working in a movie
Rob
in
Marshall.
Australia, and I'll be like, I'll be there.
Like you're coming with me because hey, I'm gonna have to make their lattes. I don't know. Like I'll be there. I'll be like making lattes, like watching him direct. Like how
I'll be traveling the world, following every dancer and choreographer that manifested something on their show.
I look forward to that. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That'll be great.
Casey, our time is up. Believe it or
What?
not, I know.
Oh my gosh, we
I
just
know.
started.
I feel we've been friends for like 5 minutes, and I really do feel like we've been friends for like 5 years. I don't
Heck
know what
yeah.
that is. I'm always been like, hi, Casey.
Yeah, because we're both like fiery fun. Like,
Maybe that's what it is. I know.
Yeah.
But ever since you thinking, I'm like, I think I haven't met him before. I knew your face,
we've
but
crossed paths many times. We just never been
in a
formally.
different life or a different universe or something.
Yes, absolutely.
If anyone is not already following you on social media, tell the camera right over there where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Casey Monnie. It's spelled Monnie, and I think they're all the same. Twitter and Facebook, and all those. Yeah.
Easy to find you. And YouTube, too.
YouTube.
Yeah, please check out
Check out my
page.
YouTube. You know, Instagram, great, whatever. Go to YouTube and watch my videos if you want.
Yeah,
that's my favorite for sure.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, we want to thank Dance Network. We want to thank Popcorn Talk, and we want to thank all of you. It's been such a great year. We do have a couple more episodes coming up in 2019, but I want to remind you guys, American Dance Movement, it's Giving Tuesday. Link is in my bio on all of my social media accounts. $1, $62, any amount you like certainly works to help an underserved kid have dance education for 1 year.
And happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. For all of your dance news, check out dancenetwork.tv. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.